guys, welcome back. My name is Katie and today I am doing summer reading recommendations. So the weather is getting warmer, people are getting done with school, and during the summertime I tend to go for two very distinctive types of book genres. The first being the obvious summer contemporary, whether it's young adult, new adult, or even adult summer contemporary, and the second being chunky high fantasy. So I've split this recommendations video up into two parts. First I'm going to be doing the summer contemporary recommendations, and second I will be doing the chunky fantasy recommendation. Sometimes during the summer all you want is a book that takes place during the summer, takes place on a beach, has a road trip. There's nothing wrong with that. That's definitely what I reach for when the weather gets warmer, because it's just nice to be able to fly through books and just continue and just have a lot of fun when you're reading. The first book that I'm going to be recommending to you is The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, which is the first book in the Traveling Pants series by Anne Brashears. This book series follows four protagonists: Lena, Bridget, Tibby, and Carmen, and they have all been best friends since they can remember. Their moms were best friends when they got pregnant with these girls. So they basically have grown up together, and even though they are very different from each other, they love each other unconditionally, and this is the first book follows their first summer ever that they've spent apart. Now, Bridget is going to soccer camp in Mexico, Lena is going to Greece to spend it with her grandparents, Tibby is staying at home, and Carmen is going to South Carolina to be with her dad. Now, they end up finding a pair of magical pants that fit all of them, and they share them throughout the summer, wearing them and telling each other about summer experiences, and I just adore this series. I definitely want to reread this at some point, but it has so many good relationships, especially the female friendships between these four girls is just tops. The next one I'm going to recommend to you is Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen. Now, Sarah Dessen, a lot of her books take place during the summer and in a beach town or in a beach setting. I have not read all of them. I've only read a handful, and honestly a lot of Sarah Dessen's books come out about 3 stars for me, but Along for the Ride was my absolute favorite. This follows a girl named Auden who her parents have recently divorced, and she goes to this beach town to spend the summer with her father and his new family, and this is the summer between high school and college, so she's going through a lot of changes, and I think the relationships in this book are fantastic. The character development is amazing, and it's definitely one of my Sarah Dessen favorites. Even if you're a little hesitant to pick up Sarah Dessen, I would definitely start with this one because I really liked it. Next I have Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This is my first Morgan Matson book, and actually the only one that I've read. I own all of her books and I've only read Since You've Been Gone. I absolutely adore this book. It takes place during the summer. It is about two girls, Emily and Sloane ends up moving away with her parents without even telling Emily, but she leaves Emily a list of things to do because Emily is the more introverted one and Sloane was always the one to kind of bring her out of her shell. And so Emily sets out on a summer of trying to do things that Sloane has left her that kind of break her out of her shell, and it's just so much fun, and I really liked this book. My last of these summer contemporary recommendations is going to be Anything by Jenny Han, and actually I only own the To All the Boys I've Loved Before duology, which is now going to be a trilogy. Awesome. I'm excited. But this book takes place during the school year, so if you're looking for a summer contemporary that takes place at a beach or in the summer, I would definitely recommend the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. That one is a lot more beachy, and I love them both. Anything by Jenny Han, master of summer contemporary, as many a people will tell you. So now I'm going to get to some of my thicker fantasy recommendations. When I was still in school, obviously this was a lot easier because over the summer you have a lot more time, and that's why I'm recommending this, because over the summer, if you have a lot of time to invest in really big books, these are the ones that I would recommend to you. The first one I'm going to recommend is A Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin. We all saw this coming, and again, you probably don't need anyone else recommending this book to you, but I absolutely adore it. Read it, listen to it. It's just so fantastic, and reading it over the summer, you just have so much more time to invest in the characters and the time that needs to be invested in a world that is this intricate. If you guys do not know what Game of Thrones is about, it takes place in this fantasy world where winters last like 14 years. And so you have like 9 years of summer, 9 years of winter, and so everyone is preparing for winter to come, and it's so complicated to explain, but just read it. Just read this one. If you don't read any of the other ones, that's fine, but this is just like it's a masterpiece. Read it this summer. The next one I'm going to recommend to you is the Graceling series, starting off with Graceling by Kristin Cashore. This is a companion series consisting of Graceling Fire and Bitterblue, and the thread that connects all 3 books is actually the villain. I just adore this book. It is a young adult fantasy book, and it's one of the first young adult fantasies that I ever read, and the characters are just so rich. And so it takes place in this world where people are graced with gifts. So you can be graced with cooking, you can be graced with fighting, you can even be graced with singing and performing, and the way you tell is by different colored eyes. And so actually our main character Katsa is graced with killing, and so she finds that she has a lot of people trying to use her for her gift. And it just, I need to reread this because it's been so long, but I absolutely adore this book. Pick up the series. The other 2 books in the series are just as fantastic. Just A++. Next here I have Eragon by Christopher Paolini. This is another very chunky series that I would recommend investing in time in over the summer when you have the time to invest in characters and plot and world building that need to be invested in. This follows a young boy, Eragon, who lives in a very small village in this empire of Alagasia, and he discovers a dragon egg and it ends up hatching for him. Now, dragon eggs are very rare now. They used to be common before, but they are rare now, and they actually only hatch when they have a special bond with someone. So this dragon, Saphira, hatches for Eragon, and they find out that they have to go on this quest to figure all of this turmoil out, and I just adore it. The characters are fantastic. Don't watch the movie. Read the books. And last here I have a middle grade recommendation because I'm trying to cover all of my bases here, and that is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. This is a middle grade book, but it is surprisingly chunky, middle grade series, and it has a lot of depth to it. This first book follows our main character, Maggie Fulcher, whose father can read things out of books. So he can read ships, he can read gold, he can read other books out of books, but most importantly he can read characters out of books. And that's kind of what happens in this one, and they have to deal with him reading a villainous character out of a book, and it's just, I love it so much.